Welcome back to Fly Adventures. Today, we're joined by a seasoned aviation pro with over 2 decades of experience, taking the Draco X on its first flight from Soldotna to Seldovia, Alaska. Let's get into it.
Alright, everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be trying out the Draco, and this is the second time I've flown it, so I might be looking around for certain things. Loading the flight plan is really not as straightforward as you would think, especially if you're going to be using the Garmin instrument that's in the center of the panel, the small one. And I'm talking about the one that's just above the autopilot, just below the logo of my Patty. So uh, what we're going to be doing here is simply flying directly. And the way I did that was I went to menu and I went into the PFD option. Now the CDI source is correct for GPS. What I did is I inserted PASO as our waypoint, and I simply hit the direct to button over here, and it set that as a course. So that's how I did it. And since the weather in here in Soldotna is, let's see what the weather actually is. Let's read the METAR together. It is 330. The wind is 330 at 4. Which means we're going to be utilizing runway. What runway are we going to be? Let me look here. Co-pilot. What runways are in Soldotna, Alaska, please?
Kenai Municipal Airport in Soldotna, Alaska typically has runways 2 and 20. You'll likely be using runway 20 with a 330 wind direction.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, as you heard there, we'll be taxiing then out to our left and then lining up at the runway that'll be on our right. So taxi time will be very short. And the weather. Let's see if we can pull up the weather in. Well, let's see if we can get co-pilot to do that. Co-pilot, can you please give us the weather for Seldovia, Alaska?
The current weather in Seldovia, Alaska is cloudy with a temperature around 33 Fahrenheit and winds from 330 at 4 knots. This suggests use runway 20 for takeoff.
All right, runway 20 down there. That'll work. And I'm just verifying this on an app that I use on my phone. FlightAware gives you very accurate data. And the winds are. All right, everybody. Let's see if we can get co-pilot to engage a little more. Co-pilot, according to FlightAware, the winds in Seldovia are 190 at 6 knots. Is that what you said?
Actually, I mentioned the winds were from 330 at 4 knots. If FlightAware shows 190 degrees at 6 knots, it might suggest a different runway choice. Always crucial to cross-check weather sources in aviation.
And what runways are what runway is in Seldovia, please?
Seldovia Airport typically has a single runway, designated as runway 16 degrees 34. So with winds from 190 degrees, runway 16 would be the more suitable choice.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so we'll be utilizing runway 16. And like I said, we've already got I already have that runway plugged in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back one. And let's come back into this here. Runway 16. There's no reason to load like an ILS or RNAV GPS because Seldovia does not have it, although it might. Co-pilot, are you there? Can you please pull up information regarding if Seldovia Airport has a RNAV approach or a is it just 100% visual approaches going into Seldovia?
Seldovia Airport does not have ILS or RNAV approaches. It's primarily for visual approaches. So, you'll be navigating using Visual Flight Rules, VFR.
All right, thank you. All right, so what that means is we're gonna fly down to Seldovia, everybody. We're gonna see what's happening, and if I can't see or if I'm not, I can turn on the forward-looking infrared camera for that matter. But what we're gonna do with that, we're simply gonna get down below the ceiling here, and what we're gonna do is obviously have our ice protection system turned on, and I'll show you how to do that. It's very simple, and then that will be on our way. But let's go ahead and double check, make sure the parking brakes are set, and they are. Prop control is all the way forward. Condition lever. Let's go ahead and open that up. And let's turn on. I've already got obviously the battery generator avionics are on. We're going to turn on the fuel pumps. Turn on the ignition that is. Let me turn on one other crucial thing. With this weather, we're going to be utilizing the seat heat to keep ourselves a little warm because it's right on the freezing line here in the Kenai Peninsula. And a little bit of air vent to get air into the cabin. And making sure our ELT is functioning correctly good. It's armed. That's very good. And as you can see, I already have PASO, which is the ICAO identifier for Soldotna, plugged into the Garmin. And I also, obviously, I have the flight director plugged in as well. And as soon as we get up into the air, we'll turn on the yaw damper. I'll fly it manually to line up with the course as you see right over here on the center display where it says -1 Celsius. And we'll be on our way down to Seldovia. What we're going to do, we're going to be watching the terrain. I've actually been there in real life in the Seldovia, and yeah, it's a beautiful town. I caught a beautiful, well, not beautiful, more of a very large halibut between Seldovia and Halibut Cove, and pulled into Seldovia to fillet the halibut, and afterwards. The halibut is phenomenal at family cabin in Kasilof, Alaska, just south of Soldotna, which is why we're here. If you watch my previous episode, I'm simply going through my cockpit flows as I'm talking to you. The previous episode was me showing you how to operate the King Air C90 GTX, and I flew that from Anchorage down here to Soldotna. So I encourage you to watch that video. It's very short because it's a very short flight. And if you have any questions or if you'd like to see me fly that aircraft again and do certain things with it regarding more instruction, I'd be more than happy to do it. Or fly on a longer leg, I could definitely do that as well. So that's why we are here in Soldotna. We're kicking off the bush flying series. Out of Seldovia, we're going to be going to some very interesting locations in southern Alaska. Not the inner waterway that goes up through Juneau, and then eventually you end up in what is that airport? the town rather. It's where they do the short takeoff and landing competition. Valdez. So we're just in, when I say southern Alaska, we're primarily operating out of and around the Kenai Peninsula. All right. So it was snowing, and now the snow has stopped. So, without further ado, we've got our navigation beacon light on, and like I said, as I was talking to you, I was looking at all of our other, all the other instruments, doing my cockpit flow, make sure that we're ready to rock, and we are. So, let's go ahead and turn on the ignition, the starter that is. And it is a turbine. It's not a turbo. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not a piston. It is a turboprop. And we'll turn on our transponder. We'll simply set it to 1200. And altitude reporting is on, which is fine. And the nice thing about this Garmin unit is that we can look at our engine instruments right here. And the reason the torque, the N1 is in the yellow yet is because we have an insufficient amount of fuel pressure, so I'm going to give the condition lever all the way up. That's interesting. It should. Let's see if we give it a little bit of power. If we get a rise in that N1 here. Interesting. Huh. Let's. It's not responsive to the throttle whatsoever. Well, that's disheartening. Let's turn on taxi lights here. Let's disengage the brakes. See what happens here. We get the brakes. Take the braking brakes off. I'll stop it manually with my rudder pedals. That was awfully abrupt. Fuel pressure. I don't know why that would be an issue. Running the throttle up, and there isn't any increase in the engine. I wonder why. Wonder why. Let's see if it's reactive to the condition lever itself. It's got because our fuel pumps are on. The generator's on, avionics on. Start. Let's kick the starter off. Let's see if we can restart the engine here. This time we'll start with the condition lever all the way rich. This should not be the problem because it's got plenty of generator on. That's on. Nothing else needs to be on for a successful start. Not whatsoever. Everything is where it should be. Let's try this again. See if it starts up now. See if it goes north of 18 on N1 RPM on the turbine. Huh. Well, and we're losing electricity. That's not good. Never had that happen before. Let's see what's going on. Are the lights on? No, they're not. Let's do this. Let's quickly, let's just do a restart here. And yes, that is my Call Sign Blackbird 1271. Once I get multiplayer up and running, then we'll be able to utilize that. Okay, let's take this spot right here. 271, that's fine. Says departure. Now let's see what it does. Maybe we can get a good engine start, and then after the engine start, then we'll go ahead and program the Garmin for Seldovia. The reason I want all of you to see Seldovia is because if it's as beautiful, as it is in real life, figuratively speaking, it's just something that is really special. It's a wonderful, wonderful town to go see. It's only accessible by air or boat. There is no roads going down to Seldovia. Let's get the PETA cover off. Alright. And let's hop in. Now let's do a walk around real quick. Examine the rudder. Doesn't want to, that's alright. We can look at the elevator real quick. Let's see here. Okay, that works out very well. As does the rudder. And the rudder is something that is highly utilized in this airplane because of the amount of torque coming off that engine. I mean, it's highly, highly utilized. Flaps are good. I've already checked tires, but I can do it one more time. Good shape. And the struts, good. How about that one's good. Brakes, they should all be good. Okay, they're fine. Okay, let's hop in. Make sure the door shuts. Alright. Now, center up the flight controls here. And I don't need to see. And if you're wondering, well, gee, I wish your camera was a little more smooth. Well, I would be using the Tobii iTracker 5. However, as you may know, the Flight Sim 2024 doesn't work well with the with the Tobii iTracker yet, even though they said it would come with it. It's something that they're still looking at. So let's put the prop and condition lever all the way forward, and let's just see if we can get a good engine start. So battery on. Navigation beacon lights are on. That's all we need for safety's sake. Fuel pumps. And we'll go ahead and turn on that in the avionics and see if we can get engine start here. Look at that, it just will not start. That is very, very bizarre. Insufficient fuel pressure. I simply don't know what it means by that. I mean, I do know what it means, but there's nothing else to do. Both fuel pumps are on. Let's see if we've got, and the fuel selector is set to both. It's not like it's not like the fuel selector is set to off. because it's not. Huh. Well, like I said, I've flown this airplane once before. Let's do this the old-fashioned way. Let's do this. Let's see what happens if... I'm gonna go ahead and just turn this off. Now that acted like it was actually gonna do something. Did you see that? Look at that. All of a sudden it works. Look at that. And the condition lever isn't all the way forward. And I tried starting it the other way. Alright. Well, cool. Thank you for thank you for your patience. I have no idea why I was doing that. At any rate, let's open up the let's go into our Garmin and quickly punch in our departure, which is PASX, Papa Alpha, Sierra X-Ray, and destination is PASO, I do believe. Yep, that's it. And in order to replicate that over here, I mean, it gives you a look-down map, which is alright. But what we really want is the terrain, because unfortunately it's on the right screen. Terrain is something that it doesn't work. It skips the weather, radar, and the terrain, and goes directly to traffic. Why it does it, I have no idea. I'm gonna say that's a bug. The fuel, see, everything there looks good. Fuel calculation, if we wanted to utilize it, that's fine. Transponder, altitude, set, good, and enter. Alright. So let me bring it back to the flight plan. See, it's blank, and for reasons I don't understand. We're going to set the barometric pressure here first so we don't forget, and I do believe the pressure, according to FlightAware, which is more accurate than the sim most of the time, 2960. Well, it worked before. So I can't see what can't see the sign here. 29. Where is it now? All right. And now we're gonna do is that's all good. Menu. Flight controls, no. I just did this before and it worked out beautifully. We need to open up the how did I do this before? Everybody, I apologize, just bear with me for a second. Turn on weather radar, that's fine. Traffic terrain. Well, that's fine. Map options, that's not there. Where did I get that from? Direct, is this, I think this is how I did it. And that is not what I did at all. Let's see, this scrolls it up and down. Of course not, why would it do that? Flight plan does not function. Waypoint. Oh, here's how I did it. Alright, everybody. Sorry about that. PASO. Enter. And we're going to set that to activate direct. There we go. And we've got our terrain set up over here on the center screen. See if we can zoom out just a little bit. Hopefully it works nicely. Very good. Alright, now that the engine's up and running very well, again, it's running well with the condition at low idle. Okay, well, whatever. Put on the cabin, the pilot seat, because it is a little nippy. It was snowing just before I came on. And in case if it gets really, if, if the visibility becomes a real problem, we can always look around with this forward-looking infrared if we want. Alright, with the icing that should be happening up there, we're going to set this to 1,000 feet. And we may have to come down and below that. We'll check it out. But we are going to go ahead and get the see here, taxi pulse lights on, tip taxi lights on, and nose lights on, and tail backup lighting, turn that on, now de-ice system on. The actual heating for the, so we have some airflow here. The actual heating for the engine, as well as the wings, it's not here, nor is it here. Well, that's interesting. We'll go ahead and inflate the door seal. I know we're not flying to. We're not flying above 10,000 feet. I understand that, but it's there, so why not? Why not use it? Oxygen system. Yeah, go ahead and turn that on. And according to the pulse ox, we've got 20. We have a 95.9% O2 rate in our system. The body, that is. Now over here, it's acting like it wants to work all of a sudden. Let's see if we can get it to give us a runway. I doubt that. That's fine. Alright, we'll just use it like this. And the only thing to go now is the parking brake. Let's make sure that everything's ready to rock up here. Okay, very good. Very, very good. See if we can get sit up in the seat just a little bit more. There we go. We can see a little better. All right. Brakes off. Here we go. A little bit of differential braking to get us, and no, I'm not going to use any flaps because I know what happens with this airplane, if my memory serves me correctly. What happens is, the airplane leaves the ground in about 5 seconds. So, I've watched it in real life, and it's phenomenal. At Oshkosh, it just blew my mind. But let's see how this works with a no flap takeoff. Putting the engine condition all the way forward. Stop the airplane very briefly, and the reason I'm canted a little bit to the right with the nose angled this way is so I can see the runway. All right, let's feet off the brakes and advance the power up a little bit. Whoa. Holy moly. See what I mean? And I barely have the throttle, not even 50% on the way up. My goodness. Alright. Well. That's don't think that's all that realistic. Could be wrong, but I don't think it does it that well. Turn on the yaw damper. Alright. Let's look at our life plan here. And let's start adding heading south. Yeah, I know we passed our altitude. Okay, so 1,000 feet. Yeah, it seems to be pretty good. And come back on the thrust. We don't want to begin to overspeed the airframe, so we're gonna check to see if this thing can accept the autopilot. We get the nav set and turn on the autopilot itself. Okay, fly heading. Hopefully it'll intercept the, let's do this. This will make it intercept the flight plan. Gonna come back on the RPM because it's yelling at us. There we go. Everybody's in the green now. With that out of the way, we can bump up the power just a bit. Let's see what we can see at only 1,000 feet. Having been up here to Alaska a couple times in real life, I do know my way around a little bit around Kenai Peninsula. And we should be flying over what in the world? Oh, is it capturing the okay, it's capturing the flight plan. Just want to make sure it captures it correctly. Yeah, the power on this thing is very touchy, which is something that they need to fix. I checked the forums just before coming into the flight, the flight here, and flight dynamics on just about every aircraft in 2024 needs to be completely redone, and I agree with that post 100%. Having learned how to fly airplanes before I began driving cars, I can tell you that that is a massive problem with the sim. These airplanes are way too slippery. Way too slippery. Okay, train still looks alright. Not gonna get any views of Cook Inlet or what's on the other side of Cook Inlet, unfortunately. If you want to know what that looks like, check out the previous episode, and you'll see Mount Iliamna in the background. It's a beautiful sight. Alright, we're beginning to get near overspeeding again. Why? I have no idea. Alright. And we should have flipped this over to nav strobe. My apologies. When we took the run, before taking that runway, we should have turned on the strobe. Let's see what that looks like real quick. And I don't know about you, but oh boy, now we're not. Visibility is practically nothing. That's not cool. Let's let's gain some altitude here. We're gonna need it. I don't like what's coming ahead. And let's look at the terrain on this map over here. Yeah, we're gonna need to climb. Let's come up to 3,000. See if we can get this red stuff in the middle to go away. So let's go to 3,000 feet. See if that takes care of the problem. And vertical speed, we'll do it that way. It's going to bleed off a lot of airspeed, but I'll counter that with the throttle here. There we go, no problem. Keep an eye on the look down terrain awareness there in the center screen there. Well, the snow stopped. And now we're not going to be able to see anything. Let's level her off right here at 2,000 feet then. Let's just go ahead and take care of it right here, right now. 2,000 feet, VNAV, VS off, down, 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 down. Okay, bringing the engine way back. We don't want to overspeed. 2,000 feet seems to be sufficient. But to play it safe, let's see what we can see outside here. That would be the Kasilof River, which comes out of Lake Tustamina, the biggest lake in the entire Kenai Peninsula. A little bit of trivia there for you. Beautiful lake. Alright, let's set up for 2,500 feet, although we're going to lose some visibility if we do that with these. It's almost like a lake effect snow coming off of Cook Inlet, because we have snow and then there's no snow, and I'm assuming, especially with the wind direction, that this is coming from Cook Inlet. How are we doing on our estimated time of arrival? Okay, bump that throttle up a bit. Yikes, that thing jumps off scale, doesn't it? Alright. Turn those on as well. Alright, looking good. Let's go back outside and check it out. There's Lake Tustamina right there. So that is the that's where the there's a boat launch that I've been to more than once. And in fact, let's go check it out. Let's take off the autopilot. Let's go down and take a look at it. How about that? Let's briefly, I didn't mean to do that. Let's briefly take a little detour here. How about that? What fun is flying in a bush, flying in the bush without doing some sightseeing? Not too much fun if you can't do this. Let's go down and take a look at that boat ramp. I have not seen it since I was last up there back in the late 90s. A couple times. Like I said, yeah, this is Lake Tustamina. The largest largest lake in the entire Kenai Peninsula. And I mean, it's huge. And we had a family member had a jet boat. Well, a boat with a jet engine instead of a prop. And, well, technically there should be a parking spot right there. And what that is, I have no idea. But yeah, that's the beginning of the Kasilof River. Not the Kenai River, the Kasilof River. And they got the color correct. It's got that green tint to it. That's the glacial soot that is in the water. Looks good. Looks very good. Yeah, let's go check out the lake itself. We'll go beyond 45 degrees of bank just because we can. Yeah, this is all lake effect cloud cover with some lake effect snow. There's the lake itself. And let's check out the lake. I know there's an island here somewhere, if I remember right. There it is. Yeah, went fishing for sockeye salmon, Dolly Varden. Had a wonderful time. And yep, there are bear and moose all around the area. Welcome to the Pacific Northwest. Beautiful. Let's see what this is all about here. Let's see what this is all about. Let's see how detailed the island is. Because you can beach the boat here on the south side of the island and go for a hike if you want, as I remember. I did not do that because I don't know, the thought of running into a bear, not on the island but elsewhere, was very, very probable. And of course, the people that live up there were, oh, bears are no problem. Really? Okay, well, no thank you. Okay, picking up a lot of snow. The airplane is not accumulating any ice, which is interesting. I guess that the de-ice switch takes care of everything. Yeah, looks looks interesting when it's snowing out. No doubt about it. I will have to. I'll fly back over here when the weather is a little more cooperative, or I should say, more conducive to sightseeing. Let's see where we are on the map here in relation to the flight plan. Alright, we gotta turn around here and go more to the south. Let's get the nose up. There we go. And we are now in IMC conditions. IMC, instrument meteorological conditions. Therefore, we're flying in IFR mode, instrument flight rules. Let's get that nose up. It doesn't want to stay up because the trim setting on it. There we go. And what's very tempting to do is once we get down to to a town called Homer. We're going to be flying directly over Homer, which is where you go if you want to have an even more incredible view of Cook Inlet. But you also go down to Homer because that's practically home base for the majority of charter fishing boats taking people out to go halibut fishing, which I did, had a blast doing it, and I want to do it again. Had a lot of fun doing it. Like I said, the biggest halibut, if I didn't say it before, I'll say it just again, the biggest halibut I caught was in Halibut Cove, which is very close to Seldovia. And I have a theory that if we were to fly out over the Cook Inlet, if we were to fly over Cook Inlet, if we were to get out of this lake effect cloud and snow, still hand flying it because it's very simple to hand fly. It's very forgiving as long as you stay ahead of, always staying ahead of it. That's me talking like the person that I usually am when I'm showing people how to fly airliners, and I'll begin to do that here on the channel. Once we get some good airliners over here onto the 2024 platform from PMDG, and I'll begin to fly those aircraft. Okay, it's looking like 2,000 feet will be better, so we're gonna leave it set for 2,000. And we're gonna activate our navigation. It already is on. Autopilot's going on. It's capturing our path down to Seldovia. Gonna bring back the throttle. We don't want to overspeed. And if you're wondering if I fly on VATSIM, the answer is yes, I do. For these kind of flights, I don't because, if Anchorage Center would be online, they simply don't like these kind of flights. Sometimes you'll get a controller who just enjoys having you switch your transponder frequency and things like that just to give them something to do. I'm talking about the 1% of VATSIM controllers that do that, and not all of them. Most of them are wonderful people, very helpful. And if you don't fly on VATSIM, I highly encourage you to do so. Alright, we're back on course. And as you can see, we got a strong enough wind to, we're having to fly at a heading of, the nose is pointing at 230 degrees in order to fly a heading of 180 degrees. So that wind is picking up the farther south we go, down the peninsula. And if you look on a center Garmin display, I'll zoom in here for you. Seeing green, for those of you wondering what that is, that's not the weather radar, that's not the satellite weather radar either. That is the terrain mode setting in that Garmin computer. Oh, I see, it's going to capture it now. Okay. I would have been perfectly okay with flying around all that stuff. But if we flew around it, then it would take quite a while to get down to Seldovia. So we have 44 nautical miles to go. Alright. Looks like we're gonna need to climb. And with the snow going on, I'd like to know how thick this cloud layer is. Would you? Let's see how thick it is. Let's look at, because we got plenty of fuel. Fuel on the wings here. Thought we were supposed to be feeding off of both wings. Yeah. And the fuel in the left wing is low. Huh. It's supposed to be pulling fuel. Alright, well, let's switch over to the right wing. And if you look, our power setting is very low. The throttle, as you can see, is at 32%. I mean, we're sipping the fuel, so. But let's get above all this. Let's see what happens at 5,000 feet. Let's just see what happens. So, we'll let the computer do it here. 5,000. And vertical speed. And since we have so much thrust, let's do something really interesting. 3,000 feet a minute. The airspeed is stuck, which means it's ice. Yeah, we have that means that our pitot tube is iced over. It shouldn't be because the pitot tube heat is. Oh, I never turned it on. Boy, that's stupid of me. I thought I had it on. My apologies. How in the world would I miss that? Jeez. That is my mistake. That's a big one. Well, and that heat, however, should, if I can see the CO2 out there, see if I can see it out there at all. If I go to this view, see if I can hop in the right seat real quick. This view, is it ice over? No. The pitot tube on this airplane is off the right wing. Just make sure we've got airflow moving up here. So that. Well, we're above the mountains on this side of the peninsula. Oh, the engine is beginning to give us on the engine. The speed tape is working, so the pitot tube is nice and hot. Slow the airplane down a bit more here. There we go. A little more. I would love to fly you guys around in the Pilatus Porter PC-6, but the one with the Garmin avionics suite, that airplane simply does not work right. I tried it out, flying it up around Nome, Alaska, and it just didn't work. And I did report it to Microsoft, but it is a known bug, and they claim that they're working on it, like everything else. So let me see if I can get the weather info for. Oops, I accidentally hit the throttle. Let me look on FlightAware again. for the latest weather in Seldovia. Refresh here. And we're looking at temperature is 0 Celsius, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. 29.6 on the pressure. And the visibility, we're gonna know if the sim is downloading the right weather or not, or I should say downloading the weather correctly or not, because this is, like I said, this is giving us overcast at 8,500, broken clouds at 600, 10 mile visibility. So if it's like this, once we get down near Homer, and I'm going to plug that into FlightAware to see if it's going to begin to lift for us. And Homer, hopefully it's hopefully it's just going down the wind direction, pulling this moisture off the cook inlet. Let me look up Homer, which is PAHO, Papa Alpha Hotel Oscar, and it is, what is it? It is, winds are 20 at 10 statute miles, almost the same. Alright, hopefully the sim has downloaded the weather correctly, because we should have more than sufficient visibility, and the overcast is 500 feet above us. Hopefully that'll be it. And I don't believe that the fuel burn rate is accurate, because we have very, very little, very little thrust. I mean, just look, our torque is only 35, and one's a 77. And the fuel on the right wing now is coming back big time. So we might have to land in Homer. And if we look at our screen over here, let's see if we can show you where Homer is. Alright, if you look close, let me see if I can get us out of here. Okay, we'll do it this way. If you look on the other side of the inlet, the small inlet that is, there's an airport just to the north of that water. That little airport there, PAHO, that's Homer. And we can definitely get into there if the weather into Seldovia is not being simulated correctly by Microsoft. So then fuel should not be doing that. The fuel burn, that is, should not be doing that. Okay, we'll leave the pulse on because of the visibility. And we'll just leave this on pulse. There's really no point in looking outside a lot, but we'll go ahead and do it. I know a lot of you do like that. As you can see here, we've got yeah, it's can't see anything, and the strobing lights, we're gonna turn those back on too. Since I'm sorry, strobing, I meant pulse. Put them back on steady, and we'll turn on That's a very bright light. Watch this. It's the light that's on the top of the cabin. That's the what they call the 737 light. All right. Looking good. Let's see here. Let's drop down. Let's see what 3,000 feet. Let's see what 3,000 feet is all about. Let me readjust the altimeter here. Seldovia, the altimeter is 2959. So a little lower pressure than Soldotna here. There we go. Let's just say 3,000 feet. There we go. Bring back the throttle. There we go. All right, we should be breaking out of this stuff already. So far, we're not really. Not breaking out of it at all. Let's see what the infrared camera gives us. Alright. Well, we may have to use it. Alright. Yeah, the fuel the fuel burn rate is way too high. They need to fix that. That's not even close to accurate. Okay, let's get down to 2,500 feet actually and see what's going on. We really don't have any terrain to be concerned about. In Seldovia we do, because there's a mountain on the opposite side of the runway. So visibility is a bit of an issue in Seldovia. Okay, looking like we're coming out of it. I can see the mountains that I was talking about here coming up. Alright, there we are, capturing 2,500 feet. And a little more power going in. Welcome to bush flying in Alaska 101. That's a good way to put it. This is exactly what it's like. 1 minute it's nasty, the next minute it's beautiful. Welcome to Alaska. Sit up here so we can see what's going on a little better. Oh, look at that! It is breaking out. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. You know what? We're gonna hop on down to 2000. Homer's gonna be to our left. There's the spit, as it's known. The spit there to our 11 o'clock. If you drive out onto the spit there on the left side, that is the marina where there are literally a couple of hundred boats that just go out for halibut fishing, and there's the airport right there. So that is our alternate airport right there. Yep. So in case Seldovia, in case something just isn't right, so we're gonna hop on down to 1,000 feet. So let's look at our fuel here. All of a sudden, hopefully the right tank isn't all of a sudden going dry on us. No. Okay. 1,000 feet would be wonderful. Although let's try 2,000 first. Vertical speed on. 1,000 feet a minute. You'll get a better view of Homer. Here's some residential housing coming down on Highway 1. For those of you that are from Alaska, you know this way better than I do. I've only been up there a couple times. Alright. Yep, I know exactly where we are. And we'll see the spit of Homer here sooner than later. And now you're gonna see why Seldovia is only accessible by boat or plane. There's a little bit of water in between the mainland and because the road does not go out of Homer and around the Kenai Fjords National Park, which is what is to our left, and we'll do that on the way back. For out of Seldovia, we'll fly up to Seward, Alaska, Seward, Seward. Anyway, there is the spit of Homer. Let's get an outside look at that. Let's get an outside look. There you go. There's Homer. There's the spit. Beautiful area. Look at that. The mountains. Absolutely beautiful. Let's go and visit it. Breathe up. Look at that. Just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Alright. Where are we with regard to distance? 10 miles out. Alright. And like I thought, the wind direction coming across Cook Inlet and over the peninsula. You can see it better over here on the right display. What's happening is, if you can see the peninsula, you can see Lake Tustamina, that big blue blob on the right side, and then you got the big blue blob on the left. That's Cook Inlet, and then green peninsula. That is the Kenai Peninsula. As you can see, we basically flew right down the middle of it. If you follow the magenta line that we're on, and what's happening is the wind is out of the the northwest there, and you're getting all that nasty low-level clouds along with the snow. So, for those of you that live in the Great Lakes region of the country, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or for those of you that live over in Eastern Europe, where it gets cold enough and you get snow off of like the Caspian Sea, that's called sea effect snow. I think I got that right. I hope I got that right. Alright, we are only 7.7 miles out. Don't worry, keep an eye on the fuel level. And double checking it. Glad we switched over to the right tank. Again, we really shouldn't be utilizing nearly as much fuel as we are. I'm going to bring the engine back just a little bit because we are going to be descending here in just a couple minutes. Obviously, the airplane would get better fuel economy if we fly higher altitude, but I wanted to show you all the beauty of Alaska, and we're gonna be doing some very interesting episodes for you down here in Alaska. Trying to get into the bush country, we'll be utilizing this airplane along with the Cub X, which I've flown once before, if I remember correctly, and I think it handles all right. Let's see if we can get a closer look on the map here. Right about there. Let's see here. Make it centered up here. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Zoom in a little more. Let's hop down to 1,500 feet. Always, in situations like this, you always want to fly in increments. With regard to your climb and descent, in this case descent because of the terrain. I do remember going to Seldovia with regard to getting off the boat because the captain that we hired, he filleted the salmon that we caught thus far on the trip, and we got to walk around the town. And I do remember a airplane coming out, flying right over our head. So there's the airport right there. Let's figure that out right now. Winds are still... Oh, now winds are variable, which means we can land either direction. This direction is easier, as you can see. So, turning off the autopilot and the yaw damper. And we are on our way in. Bring that throttle way back, because we do not need to be flying this fast at all. flaps, first notch flaps should get us to slow down just a bit. Ooh, that sun is bright but very welcomed, given how how grim, that's the word I was looking for, how grim the flight was on the way down here. That big lever on your left, that's simply the flap lever, allows us to come in. I'm looking out the windsock, and the wind, according to FlightAware, does not agree with the weather in Microsoft Flight Sim. That's obvious. Challenging, tricky landing on this. I do our best, right? Do our best. That's all you can do. Try and put the flight profile vector on the synthetic vision directly over the runway. That is not easy to do. Not in the least. See if we can stick it. Okay. Get the grab angle out of it. Why it's wanting to go right, I don't know. Whoa, what in the world happened there? What happened? That's a glitch in the sim. A lot of us in the forum have talked about it, and that's one of the glitches. It wants to just all of a sudden roll on you, and that is not, that's not what happens. So anyway, here we are. Welcome to Seldovia, everybody. And bring that engine back. That landing could have gone better had physics been realistic. Going like this. Alright, here we are, and yeah, the airplane wants to roll. Don't know what that guy is doing, walking around walking through a prop like that. Alright, I'm gonna shut this thing down. Speedo E, which should have been on from the beginning. Again, my apologies on that. Beacon, both lights off. These can all come off. That light can come off. Those lights are off, 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 and that goes off. And our fuel pumps. This usually shuts the engine off, if I remember. We'll go ahead and turn off the condition lever. There we go. You can hear the wind out there. Alright. And that is exactly how I remember it over 25 years ago. Alright, we've got off, off, off. Our seats come off. Oxygen system can come off. Air vent is off. Making sure everything is off the way it should be. Parking brakes on. And then we'll chalk it and then take the brakes off. Okay, avionics. See ya. Generator off. And last but not least, the battery switch is off. Alright. Turn off the parking brakes here. And we'll chalk tires and do what we gotta do. Hmm. It's not allowing me to set the shocks. And the wind is blowing the airplane around a bit. So let me just hop back in real quick. Turn on the parking brakes. Brakes on. Alright, here we are. Welcome everybody to Seldovia. Hope that flight was fun. I know that the snow coming off of Cook Inlet made it for a bad flight with regard to scenery. But here we are, beautiful weather, absolutely gorgeous weather, and back to work. Well, hopefully not so soon. But anyway, hope you liked it. Love to see your comments below. Click that subscribe button so we can get more content out to you. We try to make these as realistic as possible for instructional purposes, but we also want to make it fun with regards to the scenery and what my background is slowly but surely. Everybody out there, take care, and we'll see you again very soon. And until then, fly safe.